Take us out of order, Mr. Chairman.
If you could get over to John, if you would like.
Thank you.
I got three here. We can shuffle them up. Go ahead, John.
Card.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. John Mito. I'm here today off duty as a member of the Peace Officers Association Management Unit. Our unit has declared impasse with the county in an effort to try and develop a successor MOU for wages, hours, and working conditions for our group. Talks broke down, is the short answer, gentlemen, and frankly, it feels like talks were broken from the very beginning. At the end of the day, the only way to get a message to the board is directly. We've done this through the third-party intermediary. We've tried to work with Mr. Haig, and I worked with Haig for a long time. I started bargaining things in this county in 1994, and I think that was the last time anyone stood at this podium because of a bargaining outcome or a bargaining stall. And the process was broken then, and it feels like we've stalled out. So the only way that we can convey to the board the issues that are facing us is if we do it right here direct at this point. That is one of the purposes of impasse, so we can bring it right here. And at the as we move through these things, as we stand here today, this board doesn't have the benefit of knowing exactly what we've said or how we've said it with the tone, inflection, and emphasis added where it needs to be. And on our side, we don't have any benefit of knowing exactly what the board's responses have been with the appropriate tone, inflection, and emphasis as well. And that's part of the process. That's part of dealing with third parties, but we've hit a point where we think it's important to bring it to the board. Bargaining is a very challenging. It can be very adversarial. At the end of the day, though, it impacts our operation, and it can have impacts on the public. Our turnover has just gotten to the point where it is bleeding us dry. We can't get good people. We can't keep good people, and that combination it's hurting us. And the people that are here work their tails off for the citizens of our county to try and make sure that the citizens never feel the impacts as our experience continues to diminish. And we've hit a point where we think it's important to get that message. I like Rick Haig. I've dealt with him for a lot of years, but I'm very frustrated with him. I don't appreciate what feels like a pretty hard line in the sand. He has been, it's just, and that may be the direction, but at the end of the day, we work with this board all the time. And this board has been very supportive of public safety. I get asked in the public all the time, does that board give you guys the support you need? And it's a resounding yes. Operationally, whether we've come in and said we need bodies, we need programs, we need a new healthcare program, we need new control boards. Operationally, this board has been supportive. This board, we sat in a budget meeting not very long ago and got to hear Mr. Chapman talk about the importance of public safety. So I know it's important to you. I just don't know where the disconnect is. I don't know where the breakdown in communication is, because I don't think this board is obtuse when it comes to matters of public safety and taking care of our citizens. But this is at a point where we feel like we need to communicate straight with the board. We need to be able to have a chance to have our message heard and get a chance. I know that it's hamstrung a little bit because we can't get the feedback at public comment. But we at least need to make sure that we can get the message to you so you know our issues and you know what we're up against. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Kevin?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Kevin Jones, I come to you today not only as an employee of Lask County, but a member of the management unit, captain of the sheriff's office, and a person who I'm kind of unique. I left the city years ago to come to the county, and that's not real common. But I came here for a reason. Matter of fact, I came over to work for Mr. Burns, and I enjoyed that, and I eventually came to the sheriff's office. And I love my job. I love what I do. And I don't think that there's a person that sits on this board that thinks that everyone in this county should be paid more. I've heard it's been said before. I know there's been comments about, we need to, I think that if the board had 20% to give everyone would get it. Because I think that this board does care about their personnel. I know the board cares about their public safety. John did a real good job, so I'm not going to go over a lot of things, but this is not personal. This is not, when we talk about impasse, this isn't a line in the sand. This isn't personal. I know every single person going from left to right for a long time, some more than others. And I don't think that the board's trying to draw a line in the sand, but I participated like John in bargaining since 1993. I went to our first bargaining session, and I didn't go back. And it was a slap. Unfortunately, bargaining is supposed to be a back and forth relationship. And I agree with John when he says I think this is probably the most frustrating I've ever participated in. And you hear these comments outside of the meetings or outside that, whatever unit, specifically ours, is drew a line in the sand, this is what we want. Well, that's not true. We're unique. That doesn't make a person at the sheriff's office any better than someone at the road department, someone at the assessor. That doesn't make us better, but we are unique. We're 24/7. We're 365. We miss anniversaries. We miss Christmas days. Does that mean, you can't put a dollar amount on that? Well, you miss Christmas Day this year, so we're going to give you 10%. But we are unique. And I think the board recognizes that. And the point here today is not to come in and say, give us more, give us more. Recognize the uniqueness. I've been in board meetings where employees have gotten substantial increases, and I've heard the board members talk about that person and say, this person is so vital to our operation. And I know they are. Every person that's been reclassed, whatever. But for that person, and I know they're great employees, we have people to match that. They're great employees too. So, does that mean that they should get an increase? Well, we see that, and obviously, Mr. Burns and Mr. Egan, the board made a commitment that they are going to go forward. We need stability in the administration. And they did that, and they did a great job. The board recognized that. There was some substantial increases. That's great. There's a lot of employees like Bob and Richard and everyone else. We have them. And again, this is not adversarial. The intent is not come in here and throw something in your face. It's just to ask to acknowledge the uniqueness of a public safety agency. Thank you.
John Garrett.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John McGarva. I'm a sergeant at the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office, off duty today to come speak with you. I'm also the president of the POA Supervisors Association. I come from this as a unique perspective as well, because there's a part of me that never thought I would be standing here having this conversation. We have went to impasse. I'm a third-generation county employee. My grandfather, Jack McGarva, was the Ravendale Road foreman. You guys all know my father, Bob McGarva. I remember listening to them growing up talking about negotiations and things that have happened, and I remember thinking, I want to be a county employee. I came to Lassen County. I live in Lassen County, and I serve the community of Lassen County with pride. I never thought that I would be having this conversation, because I've never had that adversarial relationship with any of you, and I don't intend for that to be the case here. To not repeat anything or parrot anything that John Minot or Kevin Jones said, I agree. The meeting I've had has felt more like a slap to me and my intelligence as a person than it has a back and forth relationship. And I felt at this point, as well as my members, that we needed to start discussing things directly with you gentlemen. So that is why we're here. And I agree, we can't keep good people. We lost a sergeant in the last year to a better opportunity within the county itself. We're having trouble competing, even at a supervisory level. That's a tough decision for anybody to go from being a supervisor to not anymore in another position because it's a better opportunity. So what we're looking at is just to be able to get a chance to speak with you guys and get our message across as well. I thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Okay, I just want to say thanks to three of you for coming in and your comments, and I know the entire board really appreciate that. Any more public comment? I see a hand up. I didn't finish this.
I didn't have time to fill out the little form. Sorry. This board hired Bob Burns on May 16, 2014 with a gross salary of $129,894 $129,897 based on 70% of a judge's salary. This wasn't the governor's salary. It certainly wasn't the president's salary. It was a judge's salary. Find that odd, and I'll go into that later on an agenda item. From July 1st to July 1st, 2014 to June 30th, 2015, Burns' gross salary was $144,522.98, according to public record, which I've handed you. Who has the authority with a contract in place, terms in place, to raise his salary? This board is going in the wrong direction about taking care of yourselves. If the judges' salaries are increased at 2% on July 1st every year, Burns should have been making during that fiscal year $132,000, yet his paycheck was $144,000. I have his contract here. If anybody would like, I didn't make a lot, but you can certainly have the one I brought. I gave you his pay stub. And like I said, this is becoming an elite board where we pay $175,000, $150,000. That's not the $38,000 Mr. Burns received in benefits. So you're getting up in $170,000 group. So I'm a little concerned. I think the public is starting to get a little concerned that you don't take care of the people that actually do the work, but you certainly want to take care of yourself.
Anybody else?